Hi angels, welcome to Earth Angel Energy. I'm the Earth Angel and bringing you another general message. We're just going to tap into the energy and see what we get. And I do hope everyone's doing well and feeling very blessed. Alright, we've got the World, we've got the Eight of Wands, so we've got communication, maybe worldwide communication, we've got family commitment, Knight of Wands and the Temperance. Okay. Yep, I see what's going on here. Okay, so today's energy, I'm going to be really honest, feels very big. It doesn't feel super, specific to, a specific person in your life. It feels like messages about the world or society. Big messages. And today's messages are going to be a little bit challenging as well, too. So we're just going to kind of go through it. And if you enjoy today's messages, I feel like every day the themes every day has a certain theme. Today's theme, the energy is challenging. We're just going to talk about it, no holds barred. And I hope you enjoy. Okay, so there is an energy here of a strong shift. A strong shift where we're finding balance. We're also finding this energy of, I'm going to be honest, not all old things are broken. Not all pre-existing ideas are faulty. Now, there's plenty that are. There's plenty of things that should be left in the past. There's plenty of beliefs that are wrong from the past. But we don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. Actually, I feel like the wheel is a great metaphor for that, right? Because if you think about the way that the wheel started, it started out as like a stone wheel. And then they made it out of wood. And then they made it out of metal. And then metal and rubber. And I'm sure as we continue on into the future, wheels will continue to evolve. It's the same idea, but it's just made better and better over time. But we didn't just scrap the wheel entirely, right? There is an energy where I think a lot of people are wrestling or tugging with what the world should look like, what life should be like, what society should be like. And I'm definitely not someone who feels like we should all just go back to the way it was 100 years ago. Absolutely not. But I also don't believe that every single thing from the past should be completely done away with. So I do think that community is important. I do think family is important. I do think that structure to a certain extent is important. I also think that prejudice is bad. I think that inequality is bad. But there's a way to have some things that work remain and some things that don't work be done away with. Hanged Man. Okay. And so I think that people are enlightened to this fact. Five of Swords. Yeah, Knight of Pentacles. I also think there's a lot of people who are scared of progress, but I also think there's a lot of people who are scared of completely losing everything from the past. Okay, yeah. And so I think we've all kind of seen this big shift now where a lot of people are saying, okay, I'm completely rejecting modernity and I just want to be about tradition. And then there's people who are like, I completely am rejecting tradition and I only want to be about modernity. Both are unbalanced. And I also think a lot of people who are either completely sold on the past or completely sold on the future probably don't have a great understanding of either. And I feel like for a lot of people in the collective, you understand that there needs to be balance, right? So it's nice to have a family unit if you want to be in a relationship. It's also great for both people to be able to work if they want to, or for one person to be able to work if they want to, for both people's ideas to be heard, but also saying, okay, if a family unit wants to have a certain way of being, or a certain person having a certain role, that should be fine. There's a lot of nuance that I think is important. There's a lot of nuance that I think the collective understands. But there's also a lot of people who really struggle with nuance or really struggle with the idea that the world is not black and white. Wheel of Fortune. Okay. Ace of Wands. Three of Cups. Six of Wands. Yeah, Six of Pentacles. Good thing is, I see a balancing act here. And also, I do hope that the Justice card comes out, because I feel like that's probably one of my favorite cards when it comes to how time works, how cycles of history work. I love history. I love learning about the world because I feel like it tells us a lot about how society works, how time works. And time is always like a pendulum. We swing one way and then we swing the other. And I think that there was a period of time where there were certain standards, there were certain norms, there were certain things that were considered acceptable. And now the pendulum is swinging in the other direction where people are like, okay, well, we're just going to do the polar opposite to the extreme. No, we have to have balance. Empress. Okay. Four of Cups. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so I think for you, you feel very balanced to me. I feel like none of this is like super new energy to you. I feel like you have a really nice balance of understanding, okay, there's certain things from the past that are good, and there's certain things from the present that are good. There's new things that are good, there's old things that are good, and we can kind of take what works and kind of meld it together to be very balanced. But there are a lot of people who are not in that mindset. There's definitely people who are like, everything that's new is bad, which is wrong. There's also people who are like, everything that's old is bad, which is also wrong. And I think it's important for you to be very comfortable and very confident in the mindset that you have. And so I try to make it a habit not to talk about myself too much on this channel. But like for me, like even in my relationships, there's certain things that are maybe a little bit more traditional. Sometimes I'll cook, sometimes he'll cook. I work, he works. But at the same time, there's certain things about me that are, more feminine, and there's certain things about him that are more masculine. But there's a blend. There's no hard lines. There's no hard rules. He doesn't tell me what to do. I don't tell him what to do. And I feel like that's a good way to have a healthy relationship. Every healthy relationship that I've seen has been similar. But there are going to be people who do not believe in that balanced approach, who completely reject the old, who completely reject the new. Yeah, Two of Wands. Or who are going to want to make you choose, or who are going to want to make people choose. And so it's like, as a woman, you can have a family and still work. Or if you really don't want to, I highly recommend having some of your own resources just in case. Or you can be a Christian but not be hateful and believe that people should be allowed to live their lives how they choose. These things are possible. Nine of Pentacles. Or that it's okay to not get married. It's okay to be single. It's okay to not want kids. I know these seem like novel ideas to some people. But I think as we navigate this new period of time, I think there's going to be a lot of people with very strong opinions or very strong beliefs that are going to want to tug at you, who are going to want to change what you know inherently to be true. If you're a woman who wants to work, and there's people like, you shouldn't be working, don't let them change what you know is right for you. If you want to have a family and there's people who are like, you should not be bringing kids, live the life that you want to live. There's a lot of people, once again, with this very binary thinking pattern, this very binary mentality of it can only be one way. You can only live your life this one way. No. You, my viewer who's listening right now, you have a very mature, balanced, and intelligent view of what your life should look like. We do not need to be carbon copies. We do not need to force our beliefs on other people. I do feel like as time passes on, people are going to realize, okay, like these are things that help society. These are things that help create balance and stability. But we don't need to enforce a rigid way of living or a rigid way of being. But there's going to be people who want to do that. I feel like for a lot of you, we've reached this point now where, if I'm honest, especially if you've lived a little bit more life, you know what's right for you. I think you're open to growing, you're open to learning new things, but in terms of like your intrinsic values of your life and what you want your life to look like, you've got it. You've got it. I think it's authentic to you, it's genuine for you, and I think it works. And it seems balanced, it seems fair. I'm not really seeing any energy of you trying to force anybody to believe the same as you. It feels very good, balanced, fair, stable. This is the makings of a good life. And there's a lot of people with very binary thinking that are going to tell you, no, that's not the way to live a good life. If you're a woman and you want to have kids, but you also want to have a career, no, that's not a good way to live your life. They're wrong. That may be the recipe for them, but it does not have to be the recipe for you. Oh, you have to believe this certain way. You have to think this certain way. You have to act this certain way, dress a certain way. No. If certain things naturally appeal to you and they make you happy, great. But in this time of very binary thinking, don't let people force you to feel a certain way. Four of Pentacles, hold tight to your beliefs. And once again, you know, there could be someone listening to me who's like, well, I don't think women should work. Okay, that's your opinion. I disagree. And I'm going to hold fast to that. I also think if a woman doesn't want to work, that's perfectly fine too. If a woman wants to have a career and the husband wants to stay home with the kids, great. If both people want to work, if you've got it like that, if neither of you want to work. If you're a Christian, great. I'm a Christian too. If you're not a Christian, no problem. That's fine too. There's definitely nice ways to kind of show people like, hey, you know, the way that I'm living my life is like working for me. If you are inspired by that, that's wonderful. But there is this strong energy of anytime the pendulum swings, right? It's like a slow progression, usually like about a decade. The pendulum will swing really far in one way when it comes to culture, society, politics, and then it'll swing all the way in the other direction. But that swing is a 10-year period usually. And so it's like that pushing, right? Trying to push things in this one direction, pushing things to the extreme. If it doesn't feel authentic to you, if it doesn't feel genuine to you, if it doesn't make you happy, you don't have to go with that pendulum swing. So I'm not even really sure what the message of this reading is. I feel like today, every day, the themes of the messages are kind of all in a similar vein. Today's messages have been very big, very broad, very like society world focused. And it almost feels a little bit contrary because the other general message I did today was about how some people are being open to changing some of their pre-established beliefs and saying, okay, you know, I wish the world was this way, but I'm going to maybe adjust or allow myself to grow so that I can work within, you know, the system of society, right? And then this one is all about still holding strong to your beliefs, but you can do both. You can say, okay, I'm open to changing, I'm open to growing, I'm open to kind of figuring out how to navigate a world that's maybe not fair, that I maybe don't agree with, but I still want to create the life that I want. But while doing that, also staying faithful and true to what you want. Three of Swords with the Ten of Cups, yeah, and the Two of Cups. And the nice thing is it seems like the result of maintaining that energy is even through difficult times, even once again, if you find yourself in a period of society where people don't agree with you or people don't agree with your mindset, your way of being, or your identity, your connections, your home, your personal space, your circle, your tribe will be filled with love. We are entering an era where a lot of people are going to want to force people to live life the way that they see fit. But you don't have to. And so in this reading, I may have mentioned something that reflects the kind of life that you want. Maybe I didn't. But you be faithful to your happiness, your beliefs, your convictions. And if something comes to light or you learn something that changes things or elevates your understanding or helps you transform, that's great. But I think that we're all kind of experiencing things that are people trying to push you to want a life that you don't want for yourself. Or think something's okay when it's not. And I want to be really specific when I say stuff like this. I mean like people trying to persuade you that being hateful is good, or that being under the thumb of your spouse is good, or dealing with terrible abusive situations is good in the name of tradition or in the name of modernity. No. Because I feel like at the heart of what makes you happy is love, is care, is balance, is stability, is respect. And there's a whole lot of people where love and respect and kindness and openness and hope are not part of the equation when it comes to the way they think that life should be lived, and they're wrong. But people are loud and wrong all the time. So in this next cycle, you're gonna get this feeling of people trying to tug on your beliefs or your ideals or your goodness and trying to change that. Don't let them. This is just people trying to push the pendulum, and it'll reach that extreme and then it will swing back. You stay constant even through all the ebbs and flows. But don't be surprised if there's people who try to challenge what makes you happy. But to that I just say challenge accepted. That's what I have for you. I hope this was helpful. Very abstract messages today, but I really hope that this at least inspired you or brought something to your attention or just reinforced for you that it's really important that you allow yourself to be happy and that you don't let other people dictate for you what a happy life looks like. You can be open to change, you can be open to growth, but there's a whole lot of people with really nefarious agendas who don't want people to be happy. They don't want them to be free. They just want them to live a cookie cutter life that they deem appropriate. But they're not God. They don't get to tell you how to live your life. They don't get to tell you what to do. And they don't get to tell you what a family looks like or what happiness looks like. That's for you to decide. That's what I have for you. And as a Christian, I believe very, very strongly in that. There's a lot of Christians who are very nefarious individuals who would rather hurt people than help them. I'm not one of them. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope this enlightened you. I hope this engaged critically some really tough energies that we're going through. But I think that we have the spiritual resilience to go push past that. And especially too, I'll just say, with the enlistment of the new Pope, who seems like a truly wonderful individual who is really just open to letting people live freely with liberty and kindness and love and not looking to subjugate people or hurt people. I think that's the kind of spiritual legacy that I think will be very important in these times. So I try once again not to talk about myself too much, but I think it's important as a Christian who is trying to be a good person, who shows love and kindness and empathy and openness to others. I think it's important that I let everybody know that that's how I am, that's how I operate, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, and I'm not going to try to pretend like I can condemn anybody. Absolutely not. We're all just imperfect people, and I want to spread love. I want to spread kindness and helpfulness, but also let people know that God has your back and God has your side, and only He gets to dictate your life, not some random person and their opinions and their beliefs. I hope that was helpful. Whew. I hope that was helpful for who that was for. Thank you all so much for being here once again. I truly appreciate you. And yeah, that's what I have for you. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, details on how to do that are down below. But thank you all so much once again for being here. And until I see you next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and God bless you.